For centuries, we saw it as a jewel, the golden giant of the solar system, a halo of light floating peacefully in the dark. We called it beautiful. But beauty is the ultimate trap. Saturn is not peaceful. It is a violent colossus. It spins so fast. A day lasts only 10 hours, that the planet flattens itself out. It is physically crushing itself into the shape of a pumpkin. It is a world of impossible storms, of hexagon-shaped nightmares, and of a gravity so cruel it rips entire moons apart to decorate itself. Welcome to the Lord of Chaos.
Famously, Titan, Saturn's biggest moon, is bigger than the planet Mercury. So these things do range in size, but what we tend to be finding nowadays are small, tiny space rocks.
Because they're the ones we've not managed to see previously.
Yeah.
Let's start with the crown, the rings. From Earth, they look like solid bands of pure gold, smooth, perfect, eternal. But if you were to fly inside them, you would not find peace. You would find yourself in a grinder. These rings are not solid. They are a chaotic blizzard of sharp ice and rock, ranging from the size of a grain of sand to the size of a mountain. They orbit at thousands of kilometers per hour, constantly colliding, shattering, and reforming. But where did this violence come from? The prevailing theory is a tragedy, a murder. Long ago, a moon, perhaps as large as Titan, wandered too close. It crossed the Roche limit, the point of no return. Saturn's gravity grabbed the moon and ripped the crust from the core. It shredded a living world into trillions of icy fragments. The beautiful rings we admire today are not jewelry. They are the scattered guts of a dead moon. We are staring at a planetary graveyard.
In fact, I think one amazing study I saw positioned even some of Saturn's largest moons as quite young. Now, I say quite young, they're estimated to be around 100 million years old, which...
It is just junk and debris. And this debris is policed. If you look closely at the gaps in the rings, you will find the shepherd moons. Tiny worlds like Pan and Daphnis. They are the jailers of this graveyard. They use their gravity to bully the ice particles, keeping the rings razor thin. But the strangeness of Saturn goes deeper than its rings. Look at the North Pole. Nature does not make straight lines. Fluid dynamics should create circles and spirals. Yet here, spinning forever, is a perfect geometry, a hexagon. This is not a symbol. It is a hurricane, a six-sided storm wide enough to swallow 4 Earths. The walls of this storm reach hundreds of kilometers deep into the planet's atmosphere. It changes color over the years, shifting from blue to gold, a chemical reaction on a planetary scale. At the very center lies a massive vortex, a red, spinning maw that looks like a rose made of hurricanes. It has been raging for decades, perhaps centuries, a geometric scar that never heals, staring unblinkingly into the void like a giant eye. And when Saturn gets angry, the entire planet changes. Every 30 Earth years, roughly 1 Saturnian year, a monster wakes up. We call it the Great White Spot. This is a storm system so massive it wraps around the entire circumference of the planet. Imagine a thunderstorm that covers the entire Earth, catching its own tail. It flashes with lightning 10,000 times stronger than anything on our world, turning the golden planet into a strobing ghost. So what if you fell in? What if you slipped past the storms and dropped into the atmosphere? There is no surface on Saturn. There is no ground to hit. There is only the descent. First, the winds would tear at you with supersonic speed. The temperature is minus 150 degrees Celsius. But as you fall deeper, the pressure builds. The sky above you turns from blue to yellow to pitch black. The weight of the atmosphere above you becomes crushing. Deep down, the atmosphere stops acting like a gas. It becomes a supercritical fluid. You wouldn't splash into an ocean. The sky would just slowly thicken until you were swimming in it. And then the impossible happens. The pressure becomes so intense that hydrogen gas is squeezed until it turns into a metal, liquid metallic hydrogen. You are now falling through a sea that conducts electricity. It is dark, hot, and crushing. Some theories suggest that down here, the carbon in the air is crushed into diamonds. It rains diamonds into the core of the monster. Saturn is the king of a massive entourage, but one of them is an imposter, Titan.
Big mysteries of Saturn is actually, we don't know where its rings came from. We've got these beautiful rings, but we're not 100% sure what they came from. And so we think that, collisions might be what we're seeing. And rather than being, separate individual little special moons, it's probably actually just, the junk and the debris left from perhaps some rather dramatic collisions that happened.
Titan is massive. It is the only moon in the solar system with a thick atmosphere. In fact, if you stood on Titan, You would see rivers, lakes, and rain clouds. It looks startlingly like home. But do not be fooled. Titan is a twisted, toxic reflection of Earth. The rain is not water. It is liquid methane and ethane. Liquid natural gas falling from the sky in slow motion due to the low gravity. If you jumped into a lake on Titan, you wouldn't just freeze. You would shatter like glass. Further out lies a tiny, bright ball of pure white ice, Enceladus. For years, we thought it was just a frozen rock. But then we saw the tiger stripes, long blue fractures at the South Pole. And from these scars, it bleeds. Saturn's gravity is kneading this tiny moon like a ball of dough, keeping its core warm. Beneath that thick frozen shell lies a global ocean of warm liquid water. It has salt. It has heat. It has organic molecules. In the deep, dark pressure of Enceladus, something might be swimming. We went to Saturn looking for answers, but to keep those answers safe, we had to make a sacrifice. In 2017, the Cassini spacecraft was running out of fuel. To protect moons like Enceladus from contamination, NASA ordered Cassini to commit suicide. It dove straight into the atmosphere. It fought to keep its antenna pointed at Earth, screaming data back to us until the very last second. Then Saturn tore it apart. It vaporized and became part of the planet forever. Saturn feels eternal, but it is not. Even the rings are dying. Gravity is slowly pulling the rings down into the planet as ring rain. In cosmic time, Saturn is just a fleeting moment.
Within the rings, we talk about shepherd moons in Saturn, where the gravity from those moons helps to keep the rings in a stable orbit. I know they found some moonlets which get very, very small.
We went to Saturn looking for answers, but to keep those answers safe, we had to make a sacrifice. In 2017, the Cassini spacecraft was running out of fuel. To protect moons like Enceladus from contamination, NASA ordered Cassini to commit suicide. It fought to keep its antenna pointed at Earth, screaming data back to us until the very last second. Then, Saturn tore it apart. It vaporized and became part of the planet forever. Invisible monster here too. Saturn possesses a magnetic field 500 times stronger than Earth's. It traps high-energy particles, creating massive radiation belts that are invisible to the eye but lethal to biological life. This magnetosphere breathes. It expands and contracts in the solar wind, pulsing like a giant, invisible lung in the dark. If you were floating near the rings, you wouldn't just be dodging ice. You would be bathed in a silent, deadly radiation that would cook you from the inside out. Provider, it is just a bright, cold star. If you float in Saturn's shadow and look back toward the center of the solar system, you will see a tiny pale blue dot. Us. From here, all of human history, every war, every love story, every person who has ever lived, fits inside a single pixel of light. Saturn doesn't just crush matter, it crushes our significance. It stands as a monolith of indifference, reminding us that in the grand theater of the cosmos, we are not the main character, we're just dust watching a giant. Gravity is slowly pulling the rings down into the planet as ring rain, 100 million years. That is a blink of an eye. In the future, the rings will be gone. Saturn will be just another lonely, beige gas giant in the dark, so look at it while you can. It is a temporary masterpiece of gravity and violence. A beautiful trap that lured us across the solar system, only to show us how small we really are. Saturn is the most beautiful thing in our sky. But remember, beauty can be deadly. 100 million years. That is a blink of an eye. In the future, the rings will be gone. Saturn will be just another lonely, beige gas giant in the dark, so look at it while you can. It is a temporary masterpiece of gravity and violence. A beautiful trap that lured us across the solar system only to show us how small we really are. Saturn is the most beautiful thing in our sky. But remember, beauty can be deadly.